Welcome to the Fuel Homestead. My name is Amy Fuel. This is my YouTube channel. I am also a blogger at thefuelhomestead.com and an author of 2 books, The Homesteader's Herbal Companion and The Homesteader's Natural Chicken Keeping Handbook. If you have ever wanted to start a medicinal herb garden, this is the year to do it. This is the year for all things gardening. But maybe you don't know where to start. Today we're going to talk about yarrow, the one herb that is so easy to grow. It even grows wild in the field most times. You can also grow it yourself right in your home garden or in your flower beds. So we're going to talk about that today, the medicinal uses, and a little bit more than you might realize about the herb. So let's get started. Yarrow is one of my favorite herbs to grow. We are actually growing it this year in huge batches, which I'm really excited about. Now, this herb is actually normally known as a weed. You'll see it growing along the roadside or in fields or near creeks. It likes sandy soil, and it likes soil that needs a little bit of help sometimes. That doesn't mean it won't grow in good soil. It absolutely will. But you're used to seeing yarrow in canyons, on the prairie, all over the country, in all kinds of different places. Now, yarrow grows best in zones 3 through 9, so it has a pretty wide range of where it can grow. And it's a pretty foolproof plant to grow. So if you want to get started with medicinal herbs and you're afraid you're going to kill your plants, yarrow is it. But besides that, yarrow has some incredible medicinal uses, and we're going to go over that today. We're going to talk about growing it and harvesting it and how you need this herb on your homestead. So the medicinal uses for yarrow varies quite greatly. We use it for wound treatment. It has been historically and traditionally and modernly used for stopping bleeding. This is one of the main reasons that people use yarrow, is for the bleeding aspect, why we keep it on hand, why Native Americans used it. This was such a good thing to have on hand because you never know when you might be in a situation where you need to stop a bleeding wound. It's a great herb for digestive use. It's a diuretic. It's also an anti-inflammatory, anti-spasmodic, and it also removes excess mucus from the body. It's a diaphoretic, which means it reduces fever. This is one of the main reasons that we grow yarrow, because it's a great fever reducer. When taken in large amounts, it'll actually cause the body to perspire, and so that's why it reduces fevers. It can lower blood pressure, stimulate blood flow to the pelvic area, especially the uterus. It's an antimicrobial. It's used for hemorrhage, pneumonia, and even rheumatic pain. Yarrow is quite the homestead herb to have on hand. It's even commonly known as a prepper herb because, as you can tell, it's used for many, many different things. I wrote a blog about yarrow. I'm going to read you some things in here because there's so much about yarrow that it's just easier for me to read it off so I'm not rambling. So the botanical name of yarrow is Achillea, and it comes from the name Achilles. And that's literally what he used yarrow. So he used it for soldier wounds. He would put it on their wounds to stop bleeding, to help not get an infection. So that's where yarrow got its botanical name from. Yarrow has traditionally been used as a tonic, anti-inflammatory, and all the other things that I mentioned, as well as stimulating blood flow to the uterine area. This is why we actually suggest that if you're pregnant, you not take yarrow because it could potentially cause miscarriage. Modern medical uses for yarrow have even included treatments for malaria, hepatitis, jaundice, liver disorders, and it is even an hepatoprotective herb, which means that it protects the liver. We've even seen yarrow used in prevention and treatment of influenza, though there aren't really any studies about the herb and the specific treatment of influenza, so I just want to put that out there. We haven't done enough studies to actually prove that the herb helps with influenza, but when taken at the onset of symptoms, it seems to be helpful. And it's helpful due to its ability to remove excess mucus from the body. This is why we also suggest yarrow for the recent virus, which I will not name, but it's a really great herb that I hope they do more studies on in regard to the most recent virus. Yarrow is a bitter herb. which means it also has flavonoids. So because of that, it causes your digestive tract to work a little more efficiently. It increases saliva and stomach acid to improve digestion. Yarrow can be used as a mild sedative to reduce anxiety and promote sleep. Native Americans and early settlers had medicinal uses for yarrow too. They used yarrows for its astringent qualities that made it effective in wound healing and its ability to stop bleeding, which we've talked about multiple times. Dioscorides, which was a Greek physician and pharmacologist and botanist, he used yarrow for dysentery and, as we mentioned, for wounds and infections. Yarrow essential oil has been known to have antimicrobial properties against certain bacteria, including E. coli and pneumonia. It may also help with urinary tract infections. Believe it or not, a study done on yarrow even showed great antiviral activity against polio. Of all types of things, polio. We have seen great results from that. Yarrow truly is a homesteader's herb. It's very easy to grow, it's very easy to harvest, and it has a lot of medicinal uses, from reducing fever to helping with digestion to stopping bleeding to being an antimicrobial to fight infection. It's just the overall herb that a homesteader needs. Now, harvesting it is very, very easy. You're gonna wait until the flowers open and they're all completely open. Then you're gonna cut the entire stem at the base of the plant, and then you're gonna actually hang those stems upside down so that the flower head droops down, and you're gonna let it dry for about a week until it's fully dried. You can then take those stems and the flower heads and crush them up and store them for up to a year in an airtight container. You can also harvest the leaves. What I like to do is harvest the stems and flower heads first. And then once the plant has completely finished blooming and I've harvested all of that, then I'll go back and I'll cut the plant down completely to the ground. That gives me 2 batches each season of harvesting it. So you're gonna harvest it once in the spring, and if you cut it down to the ground, you can normally get an early fall or late summer harvest as well. Yarrow can come in many different colors, though traditionally you will see it in white. Doesn't matter what color you get. Oftentimes the yellow color, it's called moonshine yarrow. And all of the colors in every rainbow color you could imagine still have the same medicinal benefits. And that's it. Yarrow is that easy. You can grow it in pots, you can grow it in 5-gallon buckets, or you can just put it in your regular flat flower beds or even in your garden. Now, garden is a little bit tricky because yarrow will reseed itself, and it has great roots. The roots can be used as well, but we like to be a little sustainable. Roots can be used for pain management, but I would suggest letting your roots grow really, really well for at least 2 to 3 years before you think about harvesting that. And then don't harvest all of them at one time, just harvest little bits when you're needing them. All right, guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Check out more information and the blog post on yarrow with all of this information in it in the description of this video, and check out my book, The Homesteader's Herbal Companion, if you want more inspiration and information on homesteading with herbs and herbalism. I'm working on a big project for next year when it comes to homesteading and herbs. I'm hoping to get it out next year. We will see, and all of this information will be right at your fingertips and 10 times more. So you'll just have to wait and see if it comes about. All right, have a great day, and happy homesteading and happy herbing.